Yes, welcome all of my friends to Couch Pilots, the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, but you can call me the Black Ice, and with me is my snow day man. It's Captain Phil. How are you?
Brr, snow day is right, the polar vortex. We survived it, though. We survived. How did you do? Did you have any troubles?
No, I did a thing where I woke up in my gym jams, I had my computer from work, and then I just worked from home.
Okay.
And I didn't leave the house for a day. I talked to a couple people maybe via text, maybe phone, but for 24 hours, I was just in my house, not brushing my teeth, not taking a shower, totally slumming it. And I'd planned to do it the next day as well, but my computer wouldn't work for some reason, so I had to go in the office. So I had to take I was trying to do like 3 days in a row where I didn't take a shower,
right,
which I never, ever do that.
Sure.
But it's what's right.
Well, when it's that temperature, you're not going to have any germs on you anyway. They're all going to be dead, right?
I suppose that's correct.
Right.
What about you? How did you survive the polar vortex?
We just basically sat around the house and cranked up the furnace.
It was just me by myself and my toad.
Yeah.
But you were here with Molly and Eli?
And Eli, yeah.
And were you guys driving each other nuts, or?
No, I mean, it went pretty well. I think I went to bed at like 9 o'clock. And then...
how did you and Molly keep warm?
Blankets.
How'd you
a lot of blankets.
Yeah, put the blankets on top, yeah.
Separately.
Nothing underneath.
No, I
Nothing underneath the blankets.
had a lot of stuff underneath me. And then she took the next day off because Eli's school got canceled, so she had to take the second day off. I went to work.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah, but she was ready to... We went to the Moose that night, the second night.
Oh, still pretty cold.
Oh, yeah, it was still pretty cold, but she wanted to get out of the house, and then it was Thursday was raffle day.
I think it may have been Thursday that I got out of the house, too. I don't remember. Maybe not. I don't know. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was just like outside, negative 27.
Yeah.
And then wind chill on top of that.
Right. It was like
madness.
Yeah. It was crazy. Dee Dee did contact us to make sure we were okay.
Well, I think we should be contacting her as well. I'm hearing that the temperatures are just nuts in Australia.
Yeah, like hot nuts.
Oh, yeah, hot nuts, baby. Hot nuts. Better get them while you can.
Yeah, she's been working a lot.
Boy, I woke up on Wednesday, the first day of the polar vortex, and to some like crashing noises.
Sure.
Did you get this at all?
I had a lot of popping. Yeah, a lot of popping.
And
yeah.
you know what they're calling that?
They were like quakes or something, like frost quakes.
I
love that cereal when I was a kid. Frost quakes.
It's a testament to the technology at the time. It never ever got soggy.
No,
ever. I guess the few days before the vortex, it was warming up a little bit to where the snow was melting.
Right.
Saturates the ground. Quick freeze, ice,
spans,
pop, fizz, right?
Yeah, that was. I heard a lot of them, and like
I thought my house was falling apart.
in our room, we could hear a lot of them in the back, and also we had those trees in the back, and they were frozen, and the wind was blowing, and they were. I was waiting for one of them to come down. Not on the pool.
Man, I tell you what, I was at home. You were at home. I tell you someone who wasn't at home, and that's a guy who goes by the name of DSJ. This guy...
We haven't talked about DSJ in a long time.
We really haven't. DSJ is our tarmac worker here at the FCF Airlines Couch Pilots headquarters. It stands for Down Syndrome John.
Because he has Down syndrome.
Yeah, so what? Who cares?
Yeah.
He's got Down syndrome. Big deal. But, he works for us. He works on the tarmac. And he said he spent the entire day outside de-icing.
De-icing, because he thought we were flying, because he thought it was Wednesday, but he thought it was a Monday.
Well, remember when you're like in high school and you want to stay out all night drinking and you say, I'm going to be at Fred's house, right? Mm-hmm. And then Fred says, I'm going to be at Blake's house.
Right.
And so you got that. It was a situation where I thought you were going to call him and say, hey, don't show up for work.
Well, I couldn't. All the cell phone lines were frozen.
And that's right. You thought I was going to. But no, because I thought the same thing. I was like, well, I live a little bit north of him.
Sure.
My lines will be frozen. His should be fine. Yeah, both of our cell phone lines frozen.
I'm on the top of the hill. You're at the bottom of the hill.
Sure. So we're like, we thought each other were taking care of it. He went out there, and he got the tips of his fingers, I guess, were
frostbitten.
Frozen solid at one point.
Oh, connecting. Yeah. Like frozen together.
Yeah. They froze together, and he kept de-icing even though his hands were like tip to tip.
So now he's like Tusk.
He's
like a walrus.
That movie really affected you, right? You bring it up. I would say a lot compared to any movie.
Any that and Encino Man are the only two movies I reference.
Granted, it's probably one of only 10 movies you've ever seen, so I guess your references are narrow. But
well, it just made me think of a walrus with their fins that look like they have like fingers stuck together.
You're right. I guess he does look like Tusk. I never actually saw Tusk.
Well, so so he was here and he was like de-icing all day, and then he did contact us. And we found out about his injury.
Yeah.
I filled out the paperwork. You're welcome.
Did you file it?
Huh?
Did you?
Fuck. I just filled it out.
You got to laminate it.
And then you got to file it.
Yeah, and you got to put it in a manila folder.
Manila folder.
Yeah.
Good old days, right?
A couple months ago?
That was a long time ago. That was like a year and a half ago. So we're like, hey, and he was talking about, the medical bills and stuff. And so we sent him, we contacted Chris Tuckley, and we're like, who is your best frostbite surgeon in the UK? Because it's cold there.
Oh, yeah. They live in constant fear of frostbite in the UK.
And he gave us the guy's name, contact information. So we had one of our buddies who's just graduated from Phoenix Online Aviation School.
You and I actually were mentors to this guy.
Sure. And we had him. He just bought his own plane. I mean, it's a little plane. It used to be owned by Aerosmith, but no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. We had the Judas Priest
right.
one at one point.
And so he flew him over there to the UK. Chris Tuckley picked him up at UK International Airport, I guess.
That's what it's called.
And right now, DSJ is over there having
neurosurgeons. I think he was going to be in like a man-sized microwave at one point.
Right. And then they once the surgery is over, he has to those machines that you put your hands in, the gloves are like built into the wall, and then so you don't contaminate stuff. Yeah. He has to keep his hands and all his fingers separated. I think it's like for 78 days.
78 days?
Maybe he said 78 hours. Maybe I don't know. I
check out a lot when I listen to him. He just kind of drones on.
It takes a long time.
It's a little bit of a DSJ de-icer situation where they're thawing him out. Thoughts and prayers to him.
Definitely.
And now this is okay. This is something where I thought you were going to take care of it, and maybe you thought I was. So maybe we get this out in the open right now. Who is taking care of his mom while he's gone? Because remember that she got in a plane wreck with Harrison Ford,
right?
And she's in
a wheelchair.
She's in a wheelchair, and I think she's deaf and dumb, like so much Helen Keller now.
Right.
So who's taking care of her? Because it's kind of
I did the paperwork.
And did you laminate it?
Well, I'll go back and laminate it. I filed it, and then so I'll take it out of the manila folder, laminate it, put it back in the manila folder, then file it.
Okay.
So I'll take care of that.
So, and then I will just watch you do it, and I think that should take care of everything.
Well, we didn't talk about who's going to watch his mom.
Oh.
How do you like those headphones? Can you tell the difference?
They're good. They're almost not big enough for my huge head.
Okay. All right.
Don't worry about that, though. They're working. But I kept trying to pull down on them to extend them more, and it was just like, no, there's no reason for headphones to be this big. I am the exception that proves the rule, I think.
Well, those are karaoke Big E ones. Oh. So if you want to use the old ones that'll fit your head.
So who's dirty, disgusting sweater on these?
Kevin's.
Oh, God. That kid sweats.
Yeah. Well, at that weight, what do you expect?
You did the heel versus face show with him. What is he weighing in at?
You have to listen to find out.
Oh, that's
heel
good.
versus face, episode 10.
Can you imagine?
We're celebrating our 1 year anniversary with our 10th episode.
A lot to be proud of there.
Hey, you always said, what's the one thing you say about
consistency? So you guys are you're disproving my rule by being wildly successful and not being consistent.
Yeah. Well, we're the only wrestling podcast on the internet, so
it's easy to be successful when you're the only thing. That's why we're not more successful, because there's one or two other shows just like us. But that's a quick update on DSJ. So
you want to send thoughts, prayers, post on Facebook, thoughts and prayers,
gift baskets, Valentine's Day cards.
Oh yeah, Valentine's Day cards.
We just missed Valentine's Day. It's 18th, so whatever.
So it happens.
What did you do for Valentine's Day, or what will you be doing?
Well, it usually is on a weeknight, which is really doesn't give much. But I'll probably take her to a nice dinner, buy her a gift that she doesn't like, and then force her to have sex with me.
Rape.
No. Okay, let me rephrase that.
Okay. You're going to rape your wife.
No, I Weinstein that one. Sorry. Nag and bug her until she just gives up and has sex with me.
Okay. Boy, so. I can't wait to get married. That sounds so good.
Is it around the corner?
No. Where fudge is made? I don't think so. No, sir. This guy is confirmed bachelor gay. What I was going to ask you something else. Valentine's Day, DSJ. Oh, I know what it was. It's more of a statement than asking something, I guess. With DSJ gone, we are taking...
DSJ JR?
We're taking him, on board the plane. And then we're also looking for a fill-in tarmac worker in the meantime. So if anyone out there, just hashtag DSJ... Job. Yeah. And
DSJ job.
And you, too, can be a part of the Couch Pilots family. Hashtag that. Obviously, just for hashtagging, you're going to get frequent flyer points. Frequent flyer points for anyone who listens, participates with the show, downloads it, tells a friend. Even something non-electronically, just physically telling someone, we will know you did it, and you'll get frequent flyer points. But if you want to be a part of the Couch Pilots family and work for us for maybe upwards of 78 days, between 78 hours and 78 days, you'll have a job.
Like I said, I haven't gotten any information on what's going on.
And who the hell knows what he's ever talking about, so... hopefully we get someone in here because, I get it up, right?
Yeah, and I do everything in the middle.
And then I bring it back down, but we need someone out there waving those golden cones.
Right, because what are we going to do, just take off and let land without any kind of direction?
That's preposterous.
We are the best pilots in the air, but, even the best pilots need...
We need ground support, right? Ground support to Major
Shock
Tom.
and awe. So, if you want the job, hashtag DSJJOB.
Hashtag, do we have any fan feedback?
Sure, if you'd like to have some fan feedback, I can accommodate you with that.
I always like what the fans have to say, unless it's a conspiracy theory, in which case I do not like it.
Hold me now.
Where are you getting most of your?
It's hard for me to say I'm sorry. What?
Where are you getting most of your fan feedback?
A lot of it's mostly from Facebook. There's some Twitter, but I don't know I don't know if people talk on Twitter. I can't figure it out, so I can't go back and screenshot it. So I don't know how to do it.
Oh, you know what I've been doing a lot on Twitter lately? I will go because everyone's out there on the front page saying, "Hey, any podcast suggestions? Can someone tell me a podcast I can listen to?" And the right thing is to say, "Hey, check out my podcast."
Right.
I always reply, "No." I always reply, "I have no recommendations."
How's that going?
People like it. People are liking the comment.
This is from Chris Tuckley.
I like that guy.
A moment of pathos towards the end, or should that be the beginning of the Mabel and Max episode that had this old frequent flyer wiping away his tears, as Blake wondered aloud if he was just a disgusting old man, and Jason struggled with questions of sexuality. Blake began to sweetly sing "You Are Not Alone" to his co-pilot friend. Truly life-affirming. Mm-hmm. They should make couch pilots available on Obamacare.
Yeah. A little food for thought, a little something for the soul, right?
Yeah, and so I replied, "I'm glad you noticed the touching moments on couch pilots. Sometimes they are overlooked."
By the cursing and burping and sexual innuendo.
Right. I think our friendship is very strong, and if you peel back all the jokes and the jibber jabber,
you still get a lot of burping and cursing and sexual innuendo.
This is on Twitter. It's from IndieFix140-_6.
Is that Matt?
Yeah, it's Matt. And
he hosted last week with Kevin.
Yeah,
remember
they did a great job.
I heard it. No, I haven't heard it yet, but I will hear it, and I'm sure they did a great job. And if you like those guys, then you're going to hear drops like this.
Can't do
it. Kevin, if you could look into an upgrade on the quote-unquote peanut offer in flight, I'm not sure what I was offered last night, but that was not a bag of peanuts.
I don't know what that means.
And Kevin replied, "Most of my posts aren't very good."
That was his thing for a while. Like you could put a little blurb about yourself,
right?
And for a while, I think that was his blurb. Is most of my tweets aren't very good. So is that his response, or did you just screenshot? Never. You know what? Never mind.
They're all out of sync. What? Do you want more or no?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you were touching buttons.
No, I was going to press this.
I can get you $5 million to get my family out of that house.
Oh, this is here. This is relevant to the weather. Is that the pilot's lounge again, dude? I will. Oh wait, did I just say that about this?
I don't think so.
Is that the pilot's lounge again, dude? I will swap some weather with you. We have brush fires here at the moment. At 2 a.m. this morning, it was still 24 degrees Celsius with very gusty hot winds. But by the end of the week, we should have our first cyclone of the season. Yeah, to down under weather.
I'm going to assume that's from Didi.
Yeah.
And 24 degrees Celsius is about 175 degrees.
Is it really?
Fahrenheit. So that is terrifyingly hot.
It's like 911, right? Mm-hmm. Fahrenheit 911.
Yeah. And just while Blake is looking this up, to really put a fine point on it, frequent flyers out there, gather those points up. They're worth something, right? You're not just getting points and throwing them in the wind. They're good for goods and services rendered. You can get signed aviator's glasses, used underpants. There's surprise prizes.
No, that's my favorite. Pregnancy tests we can send you if you want.
Yep.
Send you some CBD oil.
My hair's getting long enough to where I'm giving out little locks of my hair.
Oh, I remember we had that contest. We had the Locks of Love contest.
And no one responded.
No, you had a whole bag of hair, and it just went to waste.
I had and do you remember when I had that Halloween costume where I just put my old hair on top of my head?
I responded, Dee, yes, the lounge again. Maybe it's God's way of telling me to stop. And Dee put, Blake Clayton, no. If Captain Black lost his voice after screaming into the microphone, that would be God telling you something.
Oh, my God. I love screaming so much.
You do. Oh, let's not do that today.
Oh, we'll see. We good? You got a little bit more for that ass.
I got so much, but I have it. Oh, yeah. This is from our YouTube page.
More YouTube stuff.
Yep.
You're getting. Are you just checking it more lately? Because
no,
I feel like every week now we're getting responses on YouTube.
This is just the email. The subject line is The Fart Show.
Oh, okay.
And this is from Josh Stemple.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And he's at eggsaregood39@gmail.com.
Giving out his email address.
Yeah. And the message says, it is I again. Have you learned anything about the Stinky Show? JLS. Do you have anything to say about that?
I don't.
Last but not least, Chris Tuckley posted an article from Variety.com.
Yeah.
Will the Oscars be a hot mess without a host? And Chris Tuckley says, come on, USA. We all know which double act should step it in here with a little airplane emoji.
Hell yeah. Would you host the Oscars with me?
I said I agree, but we weren't called. Yeah, I would do it.
What would be your plan of attack hosting the Oscars? Would you pull a Ricky Gervais and insult the audience and make things awkward?
I would learn my lines because I know I wouldn't be able to read the teleprompter fast enough.
Okay. See, I see myself as a Billy Crystal, or even like a Seth MacFarlane, kind of a song and dance man. I'd be out there soft shoeing, spouting one-liners, having fun. Just light ribs.
Sure.
Nothing digging deep like Ricky Gervais. But I'd be out there soft shoeing it, having fun. A little top hat, little cane, spin around. Maybe.
Why would it be a little cane?
Because it would make my little cane seem less little, I think.
That's why you buy during Christmas. You always bring over those little itty bitty candy canes instead of regular size ones.
Yep.
Because you don't want to hold a regular size one up to your dick.
I was just gonna say, just to make it clear, we're saying that I have a very small penis.
I got more fan feedback. Well, that's all right.
Very small. How do you know if you have a big penis or not?
Well, you definitely don't measure them based off of watching pornos. Those guys are only there because they have big penises.
Okay.
They're only lucky enough to have sex with all these women because they have a larger penis than normal. I think it's just as long as you can see it.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I mean, how big a one do you really need?
Well, okay, right now you and I are drinking these Miller Lite cans.
Yeah, that's too thick. There's too much girth there.
Okay, I mean, this is like the size of my penis, this tall boy. Is this like...
Is that flaccid or hard?
This is flaccid. So but it's small. This is too small, right? What are you? Are you the stork? Are you the Groucho Marx stork from the Vlasic commercials? Did you go from flaccid to Vlasic pickles?
That's why I stopped myself.
Yeah,
so that
I
decided to do a visual joke for all our listeners.
You know what? You might be right, because I am all of the listeners probably, and I am here in front of you, so that's perfect. But yeah, this is how I measure the length of my penis, and maybe you do it a different way. You get a piece of string, okay?
Okay.
And you become erect, not flaccid. You take the piece of string. Nice little cigar motion, thank you. You take the piece of string.
You take a vodka drink.
You put the piece of string in the middle of your asshole.
In the middle of your asshole?
You bring it up. You take the string. You go twice around the balls. And then you go just past the tip. And then you take it past the tip, and then you hold the string out, and that's how long your penis is.
Really? I don't think that's right. I think you're adding a couple extra inches there.
Well,
why don't you just go from the back of the balls to the tip of the dick?
Center of the anus, twice around the balls, just past the tip.
I hope you're not telling girls that measurement, because when you finally get it out,
at that point it's too late. What are they going to say? No.
That's true.
And it's dark out.
As long as you can convince them and tell them whatever they need to hear, once your pants are down, they're not going to say no.
It's go time. Yeah. It's go time. So, I guess when all said and done with the string,
Ivy wet.
We're looking at about 13 and a half inches.
Wow.
So
I'm surprised you're not in movies.
I've tried out.
Really?
I send a lot of pictures out there, and hopefully...
Where do you send them to?
Just, random people I meet online, and hopefully they get into the right hands to where someone's like, oh, this is a sizable...
No pun intended.
Well, no. I'll get them in anyone's hands. Pun intended, I suppose.
You are a treat.
Oh, thank you. I think you're a little bit of a treat.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
It's time to get real. Fasten the seatbelt signs.
So what we're doing here in season 17 of Couch Pilots is we're doing all United Kingdom pilots. Chris Tuckley from the UK said, hey, here's 10 pilots you can do from the UK.
Right.
We didn't necessarily ask for them, but we'll always take them. Anyone who wants to send us those things?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It just, as long as they meet the criteria, send them our way. I don't think we've ever refused to watch one.
No. There's a guy in the fan feedback, that Josh kid. He says, he told me on the text, he's like, hey, dude, there's a show from 1990 called The Fart Show. You should do that. And so I spent like 5 minutes looking into it, and I found nothing. And then he keeps following up with me, and I'm like, if you can provide the link, I will do it. Otherwise, I will not.
Yeah, I think he's trolling you.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know.
Next thing you know, your bank account's going to get tapped. Wait, do they get?
And for those at home, Blake was doing a cigar motion with his hands. Anyway, we're doing 10 episodes in a row.
That's a Christmas pickle I've ever heard.
Oh, Vlasic. 10 in a row, minus the episode you heard last week with Kevin and Matt, our contest winners. We are doing all UK episodes.
Because we were contractually obligated to do one from the United States when they won the contest. It was part of the bylaws.
Yes, that was part of the bylaws. Whichever country you are from, that is where we have to get the pilot from. So this week is a show, but it's a show that it's called a Slight Hitch. That's what we're talking about here. And Chris Tuckley has given us a little bit of information about each of these things, but I already read the thing about a slight hitch because it was part of a different one. I think it was part of Rough Magic or something. So I'm not going to reread that. But I will say that we are discussing the pilot episode of A Slight Hitch from the year of our Lord, 1991. Great year.
It was a good year for the roses.
Now, lately you've had a problem with addition and subtraction because 91 was probably not a good year for the Roses.
No, because it wasn't. But I wanted to sing. I hadn't sung it in a long time. That was Sammy Kershaw.
R.I.P.
No, he's still alive. I think he's really good buddies with Joe Diffie.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah,
my buddy Joe Diffie?
7 degrees of separation. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
I saw Joe in December.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you didn't remember who you were.
Well, he was drunk, and also I am not memorable. So, Yes, Joe was, I think, a few sheets to the wind, having a great time, very friendly as usual. And I had a date with me, and she knew, like, when I met Joe Diffie, like, I didn't know who he was.
Sure.
And I mean, he's a nice guy, but, like, his fame means nothing to me
Right.
because I have no reference for that. But she knew who he was.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
that's bonus points when you're introducing ladies to celebrities.
Yeah. You're like, now you definitely want my 13-inch penis that is correctly measured.
Christ almighty, was she disappointed. 1991. For me, good year. I was 10 years old, not a care in the world. Right?
I was 16.
Skipping stones, riding bicycles.
Yeah.
16, you're probably out there getting acquainted with a vehicle, maybe getting acquainted with a few ladies.
Yeah. Angie Vecco, my first sex was in my first car in her driveway.
Smell of fish fillets fill the air.
Yep.
Fish fillets and ass. I think there's a Yankee Candle called just that, isn't there?
I think so.
Is it an offensive term? Yankee Candle?
I don't think so.
No.
It's a baseball team.
It's true, but like when are we going to get so PC? Because they always make a big fuss about like the Chiefs, like the Indians,
Redskins.
Yeah, absolutely. They make this big fuss about all that. But when is all that going to go away? And then they start looking at other things like Yankee. Any slang term.
It'll come. I mean, everything. It goes in droves, right? Like so. For a while, it's something. It's animals. Don't hurt animals.
Maybe there's a minor victory, and
Right.
then they move on to something else.
And then it's women voting.
You know what I miss? That'll go away too eventually. Everything's a cycle. I miss the Washington Bullets, the basketball team.
Yeah.
The Wizards? Come on.
Yeah.
What is this, fucking Tolkien over here? I want some bullets, man. It's a violent city. Let's name our team after it.
Yeah. I think it was because they were fast. The Bullets are fast, not because of gang violence.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking, what if Peoria had like a big NBA team? What would they be called?
Murderers Row.
Okay.
The Peoria Murderers Row. Murderers Row.
Boy, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, maybe that's not a good idea.
Oh boy.
The Peoria Homicides.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we're catching up to Chicago.
I can't believe that's true.
No, we're catching up to Chicago.
We're catching up to Chicago? 200,000 people locally versus 4 or 5 million?
Well, if you take it in context of,
Population density?
Yeah. I love population density, right?
Hey, do that cigar thing you did. Very good.
This time I added a pen.
Why is a stork eating a pickle? You should be delivering babies.
Or milking them.
1991, I was there. Blake, you were there.
Sure. But
that's not... There is not now.
yeah, there's not here.
Yeah, those 2019 and 1991, they don't overlap.
Not at all.
We have to think about this show in context of the time it was released.
Mm-hmm. We cannot judge this pilot, which was made umpteen years ago, based on the criteria of today and the expectations of today. Back in 1991, right? There was no Bruce Hornsby in the Rain. Okay,
it wasn't that.
There was no Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah,
right. And there was no Vlasic Pickles or Courtney Cox. So you can't. We have those things now.
We take them for granted every day.
Yes.
They're always in the
Yes.
top of our mind.
Yes.
But back then, they were nowhere to be seen. So we have to try to go back there in our minds so we can properly rate A Slight Hitch according to when it was released. February 7th of that year. And mind you, these are all British pieces of history, as this is a British season.
Sure.
I feel like we should have been speaking in accents all season.
We really should have. We kind of blew our wad on that.
The Provisional Irish Republican Army launched a mortar attack against 10 Downing Street, blowing in all the windows of the cabinet room during a session of the War Cabinet. But there were no injuries.
Wow. Like, they just, bombs and shelled the place, like the street, and all the pressure from the bombs blew the windows in.
A little mortar attack.
And court was in session.
And you know what? Court adjourned.
Do they still wear white wigs?
Yeah.
In the UK? The judges?
There's like a British version of Law and Order.
Uh-huh.
And like modern day, their Law and Order, they have judges with wigs on. It is bizarre.
That is weird. Why do they still have those?
I don't know.
Wish we knew somebody that could give us the backstory.
Wish we knew one person or some sort of machine that could tell us the
Or
answer.
some kind of website that has information like that, call it like Wiggle?
Wicked?
Wig-
That's that play about
Yeah, that's the play about the Green Witch.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked it.
Have you been to Greenwich before?
Greenwich, Indiana. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
What were you thinking about?
we sent DSJ to Greenwich, the UK.
Oh, I didn't know that's where it was. We sent him to the UK International Airport. That's all I know.
Just dropped him off there.
Well, yeah. Well, we had a limo pick him up because Chris picked him up. So Chris drove a limo.
Is that what he does for a living? I didn't realize.
Yeah, he takes a train an hour and a half away from his house, and then he drives a limousine back every day.
Wow, had no idea.
Which after I said that doesn't make sense because then how would he get the limousine back?
I think someone picks up the limousine and takes it.
Oh yeah, it's probably like the railroad, like out here in Pekin. When you first come into town,
Sure.
A lot of times you see them stop there.
Yep.
And there's like a white box there. A lot of people pull over there. It's because that's one of the places that they change drivers or conductors, whatever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting fact. February 17th of that year, Barclays Bank is reported to be on the verge of axing more than 13,000 employees. Firing, getting rid of, downsize. Have you ever had to fire somebody?
Yes.
Oh, where was that? The movie theater?
Well, two places: the movie theater, and then when I worked for a park.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that go?
I had no problems with it.
Did you have to scream at them?
No, but I mean, there was times where we had to have extra people in the office because somebody was like a stupid person, and we didn't know if they were
How
going
they going to react?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that before too.
Yeah. So.
Did you ever have to do like an exit interview?
I never had either one of the positions had those.
You ever get someone who went a little nuts or?
Well, I mean, there's people that were hot, but not like good looking, but like mad.
So you hired mainly ugly people?
Yeah, it seemed easier.
It is.
They have less. They have less. They call off less.
Yeah, that is a good thing because I used to post because when I worked in the hotel industry, I always have to look for people to hire, and at the bottom I put a little asterisk and say ugly people only.
Sure.
Because they're first of all, ugly people are used to disappointment,
Right.
and so when it's time to fire them, they're usually like, oh,
Yeah, it was going to come eventually.
Yeah, clock's
well, and
ticking on
then
me.
their expectations when when you come to discuss pay, I mean they're thinking about 3 or 4 shekels, and you go here's $10, and they're like, oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I will work very hard for you. And then they usually do until you fire them, and then they kind of slough off into the night. February 26th, British scientist Tim Berners-Lee introduces World Wide Web, the first web browser, while working at CERN in Geneva. The first website goes online August 6th.
Oh, I thought Bob Dole made that.
Bob Dole?
Made the internet.
No, he did not. Did you see?
That was in 1991 that happened.
Yeah.
So we've only had the internet for 30 years.
Well, I think the very first incarnation of sending email happened in the 50s. But yeah, I think it came to prominence in the 90s. I definitely didn't have experience with the internet until probably the mid 90s.
Yeah, I think it was.
And then it was I had
very
almost
slow.
I had almost no idea it was mainly just chat rooms.
Yeah.
What was that your first experience with the internet? Chat rooms?
Well, it was chat rooms, but it also was not Napster, but there was another one, and so you could LimeWire, and so you would pick 3 songs. You can't listen to them. You just had to download them, and it took all night long. So you had 3 songs. You go to bed, and the next morning you listen, and then they were some shitty crap out version of them, or they had
It was the name of the artist and the song. You're like, oh yeah. But it was a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You're rolling the dice every night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what I remember starting.
LimeWire.
I remember that time, mid 90s, and I was on a chat room, and that's where I met one of my girlfriends. Mm-hmm. She lived down there in Amish country. What Tuscola?
Was she Amish herself?
No, but she lived in Amish country. Tuscola, Illinois.
That sounds right.
Down by a big
Taylorville?
Somewhere on, yeah. It was a big Amish furniture and broom factory or something down there.
Okay.
Met her on there. That's how I met her, was that way.
Did you ever have
sex with her? Yeah.
Well, chat room sex?
Duh.
Did you ever do virtual sex?
It was before sexting. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So you said dirty things over the thing, and you masturbated.
Sure.
In front of your computer. Yeah, I think we've all been there.
What was that girl's name?
I don't know. Are you just asking yourself or me? Because there's no way I would know what that name is.
Is it bad that I don't remember most of these girls' names?
Oh, yeah!
What was that at the end there? Hold on.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, do you hear that little thing at the end?
Yeah.
I never noticed that before. Who can remember all the names of our partners? But you know what? Something I can remember. This is why we chose to watch A Slight Hitch.
Yeah, there's 3 pillars, 3 criteria. We have a bonus one for this, the Tuckley 10. We need to do it. We didn't do the...
We're going to do it for interesting facts.
Oh, okay. First, it had to be free. Number 2, it had to be a failed pilot that never went to series. Whether it went on the internet or not, and whether it would broadcast or not is irrelevant. Number 3, we had to find it on the internet, and it had to be free. And number 4, it had to be UK.
Yeah.
UK pilot.
That's right. That's exactly right. Those criteria and those criteria.
Yeah, so if you have one that meets those 3, send it our way. Just send us a link. Don't fucking send us 45 messages back and forth saying, hey, did you look for this yet? Did you look for this yet? Just send us the fucking link. If you've heard about it, you've watched it, or you know what? You do the work and find the link.
Yeah.
This guy does so much work for each one of these episodes.
Just find the link, guys.
Just find the link.
Just find it, all right? What do you think? Just find it?
Yeah, just find the link.
Right? Just find the link. That's all you got to do. Don't make me find the link. You find the link, right?
Find a link?
What's that?
Find a link?
Just find the link. Oh, wait, hold on a
Say
second.
it real fast.
Find the link. You can find the entire episode of A Slight Hitch by subscribing to Couch Pilots on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice.
Good job.
And then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube.
You know what to do too. See how much it's so less stressful if you just do it that way. Great job.
I feel
Great job.
I feel less stressed. Ooh, I want to call somebody. Can we make a quick call?
What else am I going to do?
I don't know.
You get it up. I mean,
We do everything in the middle.
Yeah,
though.
so we haven't done anything on mine yet. So
Okay.
go for it.
Oh, what's that guy's name? Oh, Derek.
The Spanish conquistador.
I changed his name to Hoover Boss in the phone. I keep forgetting.
Great, you told us first and last name. Hoover Boss.
Fine. I'm sure we say it. I'm going to ask him about when we said the word retarded on the Ernest show. Because we're recording later this week, and I have a bit that I'm going to do on there, maybe.
Nice.
It's going to be about the word retarded, but I'll tell you what it is if he doesn't answer.
Oh, shit. Give me 1 second. Hey, what's up, bud?
Hey, it sounds like you're busy.
No, I'm at work. I'm actually drinking in the back with my boss.
Badass. With Mike, I guess I probably shouldn't say his name. I'm on Couch Pilots right now. Hope it's okay I'm calling you.
Oh my God! Oh, Lord have mercy! Hold on, let me get where you can hear my melodious voice.
What are you drinking?
Unfortunately, I'm drinking Michelob Ultra because somebody else bought it.
Hey, if it's free.
Well, one, nothing tastes better than free. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
2, I actually disappeared from work I don't know, for about an hour and went and drank with Dustin at Scooters and then came back to work.
I wish I had a job where I could get loaded.
Would you like to know? Oh, it's great. It's great. Would you like to know what I drank while I was on the clock?
I would like to know it.
Well, I had a couple of Amber Box, and I definitely had a couple Manhattan.
A couple of each. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you do your best work when you're a couple sheets?
Yeah. No. Totally. One of my best days in the car business, I sold 7 cars. I was rip shit drunk and hungover.
Very good. Blake is here too. I don't know if you want to say hi to Blake.
Hey, Pumpkin.
Hi, beautiful. Hey.
Hello.
Holla back.
Hello.
Holla back at your boy.
Holler at you.
Okay, Derek, I have something kind of serious I want to talk to you about, and I hope it's okay.
Well, lay it on me, sports fan.
Okay, so I think one of the last times that we recorded the Ernest show, your lady got really mad at us. Do you remember that?
Yes, she did. Yes, I remember that quite well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to go into this if you don't want to, or I can cut this out. You just let me know. But I have a.
I don't care. I've been drinking.
Oh, okay, good. This is a good time to get you. I was gonna have. Is she gonna come? Do you think the next recording session of the Ernest show?
Oh no. We're actually fighting about that right now, but that can be discussed later.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, she's a very disagreeable person. It happens.
Okay, because I was going to do a bit that it sounded like I was saying the word retarded a bunch, but I really wasn't going to say it, but it's going to sound like I said it. Is that acceptable?
I'm going to ask you very nicely not to do that.
Does she listen to the show?
She hears me listen to the show.
Oh.
Because I'll often listen to it when I'm, working on the house or whatever.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask very politely, please don't.
That's fine. That's fine. I honor you. I bow to you and I respect
honest,
you.
My life is difficult enough as it is.
Oh, no one's disputing that. Yeah, no one's disputing that. Okay, here's the bit then. This is what I was going to say. With all the ice and the expansion of the ice cracking my driveway, I was going to have some local tar guys to come out and see if they could retar my driveway. And I was just going to tell you guys to get your stuff retarded because it's really worth the money. And I was going to make it a lot longer than that, but that's the gist of it.
Well, here's what I'll say.
I'm not going to do it. That's just what the bit was.
One. Do it.
No,
Number 2, don't do it.
Do it. However, just try to keep it tight.
No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to make that the sponsor for that episode.
That's more my OCD.
I'm definitely not doing it. If you're already a bad spot, like if I were you and had to live with her, and no offense, because she's a very beautiful lady, and she's always been very pleasant to me, minus the one yell at. But if I lived with her, I would be terrified. I don't live with her, still terrified. Okay?
Jason, can I ask you a very real question?
I wish that you would.
Why do you think Daddy drinks as much as he does?
And I will cut that out of the show.
No, leave it in.
All right, I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to leave it in. Hey, thank you very much for answering the phone. I'm sorry to interrupt you at work.
Because he's really busy.
Sounds like he's busy. He's basically getting fucked up at work.
He's doing some filing.
We have a good time.
Hey, Hoover, can you do me a favor?
Lay it on me.
I know that you guys are recording Ernest show pretty soon. And while you're at work, will you get me a box of Manila folders and bring them to the thing? Because we're here on the flight. We're running low on Manila folders.
Get you a box of Manila folders?
Manila folders, yeah.
Say no more, fam.
Thank you, sir. Have a great evening. Be safe.
Hey, I love you both. I do. You're so great. And be safe in the skies, okay?
We appreciate it. We love you too, Derek.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye now.
I am...
He's going to get murdered by his wife someday. Or his penis chopped off.
He's got a really cool, action figure collection. And sometimes I ask people outright, can I have these things when you're dead? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want that. I think I have to put that kind of stuff behind me.
Oh, you mean because she'll burn it all to
the
ground?
Just like I shouldn't bring action figures into my home as an adult man.
Why not? I don't know. Would you get joy out of them? Out of having them?
I wouldn't play with them. I would put them on that big shelf.
Right, but you would enjoy looking at them.
I had someone over once, and I had some out, and I felt really embarrassed by it.
Really?
And so, I didn't really. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do it anymore.
Okay. Well, Hoover, keep them.
Hoover, keep them. You know what? Prove us wrong. Take it with you. All right. Good luck to him going forward. I do love Derek. Oh God, I love him so much. Anyway, summary of the pilot for there is. I didn't get one, and I forgot to write one myself. Can you've heard enough summaries at this point, and you've graded enough, and every time you grade one, you kind of give like a sentence or two of why you gave the grade.
Sure.
Can you come up with a quick one just off the top of your head for a slight hitch? What is the summary of this pilot?
This 1991 pilot, based off of the famous play, A Slight Hitch, tells the story of a bachelor such as Jason and how his world gets turned upside down.
Okay.
All hail Poland.
It was getting wordy, but you wrapped it up tight
Sure.
at the end. B+.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ooh, ow, and I honor you. Interesting facts.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. For now, the Tuckley 10 interesting facts.
Even though when we're out of the Tuckley season, do you think we should still use that for interesting facts going forward?
Yeah, it makes it, because it is a formal name for a segment.
And it does feel very formal.
It is one of the most difficult segments for you to do.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you why, because Interesting Facts is a part of the show where we tell you things about the pilot you wouldn't know just by watching it.
You wouldn't know.
Did you see the Alanis Morissette remake of her song "Ironic" with James Corden?
Huh.
I hate James Corden, first of all.
Sure.
But I really like Alanis Morissette, I think. So, anyway. They redid "Ironic," and they made, like, modern-day references. Like, they're talking about, like, Snapchat and Uber. It's kind of a cheap thing, but
sure,
it's good to see that she's out there and people still, like, recognize and respect her.
Wasn't she dating the guy from Full House?
I think 25 years ago?
It amazes me that he could get a date. I mean, he was the goofiest looking guy.
Well, they're both Canadian.
Aye.
And she was a young pop star. Like, before that album, Jagged Little Pill, like, her shit was real poppy.
Sure.
And, like, she was probably, like, a hot little piece of ass back then.
Yeah.
And he was kind of, probably a pretty well-known comedian in Canada. Funny guys can get it done. You know that.
Funny, ugly guys?
I'm sorry. I meant funny looks. Yes. That's okay.
Yeah.
No. Humorous people. That's how...
Humorous?
Is that an older wrestler?
Yeah.
He had the
question marks?
Wait, well, that... and he had, like, the tragedy and comedy masks on his unitard. It's ridiculous.
Hey, watch your language.
Sorry, Derek. Oh, man, it really threw me off track. I was going to say something to you. Oh, what percentage of the ladies you have lain with were because you were funny?
Oh, 75%.
It's a good chunk.
Yeah.
That equates, I mean, if you're talking about 100 even, that equates
It's like
to
75.
75, exactly.
Yeah.
But with interesting
25 of them had low standards on looks, and then 75 were out of my league, and I got them just because I was funny. But again, as always, just like my wife says, eventually I become unfunny the more time you spend with me.
Absolutely. Anything does, right?
Yeah, if you listen back to season 1,
yeah,
I'm a fucking gag.
I love it.
But now we're in season 17.
Not funny at all.
No.
Very good. Yeah, ask me how many girls... More cigar action. Ask me how many girls that I've
Hey, well, be careful. This isn't Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton.
Ask me how many ladies, what percentage... is
How many ladies percentage did you get to have sex with because you're funny?
That's not what I was going to say.
Oh.
Who have daddy issues.
Oh. Oh. How many girls that you've laid with that have daddy issues?
It's none of your fucking business. All right? It's not. Don't ask
You
me
told me to ask, so it makes it my business. I would say 90%.
Interesting facts. We're going to tell you some stuff. You're going to hear them. If you're around someone else, kind of zip your lip because you don't want anyone else to be affected by your reaction to these facts. Everyone should be able to take these in as they are and process their own feelings about it and regurgitate that accordingly when they're alone.
Yeah, you don't want to taint somebody else's experience.
No tainting, please. Very good. Interesting facts. Let's see. Release date March 28th, 1991. Stars Nigel Havers. You may know him from Empire of the Sun and Chariots of Fire. Both very popular movies
Never
of the
never
late
saw
70s, early 80s.
Never saw him. But I remember that was weird. I mean, I remember the dun 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 dun
Dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun.
Okay.
Is that what we're doing? The Simpsons, right?
Now I think it's funny. At first I didn't understand, but now.
Dun 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 dun. Do you have something there?
I will. Go ahead.
Okay. Also stars Sarah Jane Varley, and you may know her from Double Impact. That was that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he played a twin of himself.
Is that the one where he did that kick, the splits kick?
Why was that so popular? It was like in the trailer, he jumped into the air, he threw his legs to the sides.
Yeah,
right?
but they were perfectly parallel, though.
And he stuck him to the wall, and he hung in the air.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
Is that why? Just the sheer athleticism and flexibility? That's why?
It wasn't sexual at all. It was that was athletic.
Yeah.
You don't even see that stuff on like Ultimate Warrior Championship stuff.
I pray to God that we would see that there, but you just
What's it called?
UFC, Ultimate Fighting Champion?
No, the Ultimate Ninja.
American Ninja Warrior?
Yeah, you don't see that stuff.
Yeah, you really don't, and we should. Well, you know what they do? They do something similar, but not like that. Like his legs were just like you could set a ruler there, or a level, and be perfect.
Right. It's like 13 inches.
13 and a half. Get the string out. Get a rope. There's not a lot here. Do you have some interesting facts?
Yes, the young lady that played Anna.
Yes.
Her name was
Sarah Jane Varley?
Yes, Sarah Jane Varley. Interesting fact, she married a Polish artist, Kaz Zansky after a romance of only a few weeks.
Okay, fact.
Okay. Number 2, she divorced him 5 years later.
Fact.
All right. And number 3, she had a son, Christopher, from a later relationship, a different relationship.
My mind immediately goes to, well, first of all, we'll just say interesting facts over.
Okay.
Let's just put a pin on that.
How'd I do?
You did fantastic.
Thank you.
Immediately, I think, why does he have any information? He does almost no work. You do all the post stuff.
Sure.
And you post it,
Sure.
right? But you never have anything usually to contribute there. But then the next step is, oh, he thought this girl was hot and started Googling this girl.
No,
and I'm right.
I think it's high time I start to contribute to the show more.
Don't bullshit a bullshitter. You got your cock out watching this show, and you stroked with one hand, and with the other hand you typed in Sarah Jane Varley nude on Google Images, and then it led you down some sort of weird sexual rabbit hole. Come clean.
Interesting facts are over. I can't tell you that.
I feel like our relationship is stronger than this, but that's fine. Play it close to the vest if you have to.
I found her to be a good part of the show, and I wanted to find out more information about her.
Twitter responses.
Twitter. Oh. Hold on. Twitter responses. Go to the fair, have some meat, and go listen to Twitter responses.
I wish I don't know what we can do to get some Twitter responses, but I have no Twitter responses.
None?
None what to speak of, but I do have tonight's sponsor.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll listen to that real quick. And this is a little word from our sponsor here. Maybe hope I didn't get there. It is.
Possible. But now you can have all the power and excitement of Nintendo right in the palm of your hand. Introducing Game Boy. It's portable, it's in stereo, and its games are interchangeable. Plus, Game Boy comes with the outrageous new game, Tetris. And for head-to-head competition, use the revolutionary video link and blow your opponent away. Game Boy, only from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power, portable power.
Wow, it's going back.
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt to advertise. Those kinds of products are still available. The first real interchangeable game portable system, the Game Boy. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Nintendo, for believing in Couch Pilots as we believe.
Right, definitely.
In the
we feel like there's going to be a strong bond, and it's going to be a great working relationship.
I think so. Did you ever have a Game Boy?
No, I didn't have a Game Boy.
I don't think I really did. I have a Game Boy now that I picked up somewhere for cheap. It just sits in a drawer. I love old tech.
Sure.
But I think Tetris is one of the best-selling games of all time.
Yeah.
Because of the Game Boy. Because what's more simple than Tetris?
Sure.
Right.
Right, and the screen on that Game Boy wasn't that fancy. I mean, you know what I mean.
What's that called? Monochrome or chromatic or something like that?
Cro-Magnon Man.
Cro-Magnon Man.
Cro-Magnon.
Cro-Magnon.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's like a magnetic caveman.
Would you do a pilot? What am I pressing here?
That should have had.
Do you want to listen to it?
I had a rim shot. Should have had a rim shot.
Oh, did we take off all the promos? We did,
Yep.
didn't we? Okay.
We had to make room for Daddy.
Can't do it.
All right. Make room for Daddy. Let's talk about Slight Hitch. Let's break down the pilot beat by beat, but with only 10 minutes to do so.
Not a problem.
Right? Oops.
Oh.
Go ahead, please.
There's piano music playing, and you can see the lights of the city. And it's a classical piano, right? It's not jazzy or rocky. It's classical.
It's light and easy.
And the camera pans down to a car, and it pulls up, and I think the lights on the car go down in the hood. Remember that when that was cool?
So you're dealing with someone of maybe a little fluency?
Girl steps out of it, and the camera zooms straight down into legs.
Fucking ZZ Top City here, man. She's got legs.
Yeah.
She know how to damn.
Spoiler alert, that's Susie.
They enter a brownstone. It's a couple. And it's
Mr. Brownstone.
Susie is the girl, right? And then there's a guy whose name is Simon.
Yeah, and Simon is just making, puns about sex this whole first scene.
They were out at a show or something. They come in there, and he's like, and it's like a modern, nice apartment. And he says, "Hey, let's have some drinks and let's go do that thing we saw in the movie." Did you bring your toothbrush?
Right.
So they're not living together,
Right.
but they're active.
And that's when you hear the your favorite laugh track. I mean,
Yeah.
but what caught me off guard is the intro music and the first, like, the title scene
Didn't feel like a comedy.
doesn't feel like a comedy at
or a
all.
sitcom, no. But like you said, it was based off of a play, right?
Sure.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, maybe if you would have did some research, you would have saw that. That's why it was so difficult for me to find. Then Simon goes over and checks his answering machine, and he's got a number of messages from his grandmother. And this kind of brought back some memories because these are the kind of
Late night messages you got from Virginia.
Exactly. R.I.P.
Remember when she got that they did that thing to her eye? They pulled back the muscle or something on her eye.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anyway,
I remember when I drove all the way, she called me frantic and angry because her TV didn't work. And I drove over there, and the person who cleans her apartment had dusted off her TV stand and put a statue right in front of the sensor. And that's all it was.
Oh, Lord. So the next morning, he calls his grandma back. She's in bed. She's like, hey, just come over tomorrow, have some tea with me. He's all right. So the next morning, Susie is leaving. And as she leaves, his mom comes in just to check on him because there's no cell phones back then.
Right.
And she says, Grandma couldn't get a hold of you, so I'm coming over here to check on you. And you know what I want, Simon? I want to see you get married.
Right. Before that, it was very odd that when he did call his grandmother back, Susie was in a dress shirt of his, naked, obviously, besides that, and was fondling him and undressing him while he was talking to his grandmother.
I'm okay with that.
No, I'm not okay with that.
I have a story offline about that if you
Oh,
want.
nice.
Later, Simon is at his grandma's having tea, and it looks like she's trying to set him up with some lady who's there.
Anna.
And I couldn't get a feed because the screen was too blurry or the technology was too bad. Or it was a tape that we're watching. At first I couldn't make out how old Anna was, but then after a while it became apparent that she was trying to set the two up together.
Sure,
they're both from the same village,
right?
in Poland.
Did we mention how rich Grandma is?
I mean, her house looks very fancy. We find out she's got money.
She got money. Anna is from the old country, and she's friends. Her family friends with the grandmother. And so Grandma excuses herself a couple of times during this tea, sitting on the tea.
I think things are happening to where she really does need to go, but she was looking for a reason to get them alone
Sure.
to talk anyway. Even though Anna's English is junk,
It's very bad.
And so he's like, "Hey, what do you do?" And she's like, "I'm an artist. I paint pubic areas." But she's trying to say public.
Yeah,
right?
that was good. It was good.
And then
I wish I could have her paint my pubic area.
high five that shit. So then there's a doorbell, and it says, "Oh, that's your uncle or someone coming to pick you up." So she leaves. Anna leaves. Grandma's there, and she immediately begins the inquisition. She's like, "Hey, you know what? I want you to marry Anna. I know what's best for you. You need to be married."
And he's like,
This
"No
girl's a
way,
good
Grandma.
match."
You can't. I don't want to get married."
I just met this broad.
Yeah, and she's like, "Well, come on, let me break it down for you. Either you marry her, or you don't get no money."
What do you think about that? Is Grandma? Is there something to that arranged kind of situation? Does she really know best? I mean, because a lot of arranged things work out, I guess.
I think it's a simple case of someone with a lot of power, like with a lot of money and a power over somebody. She owes a favor to this family in Poland, probably
A dowry of sorts.
What is it?
The Robert Dowling mysteries.
Father
Father Dowling mysteries, I think it was. Later, their discussion continues over the phone. Grandma's at home. Simon's at home, and they're talking. And Grandma says, "You know what? If you were already married to this girl, you wouldn't have to explain your situation to Susie and why you couldn't marry her."
Right.
And Susie does not come back.
No,
And I thought we were going to see her. She was cute, and I was like, "That's
Sure.
all right, good on you, Simon." But
Right.
I kept waiting for him to have to confront that, and maybe if the series continued, he would do that.
Right,
But we
but
never see her again.
never see her face again. And this is the end of part 1.
And you know, it's funny because the first part on YouTube is called like a Slight Hitch pilot or something. And the second half is just called Title 22.
Right.
So it is impossible to find.
Yeah, that's why I unfortunately bothered you while you were having sex.
Well, I wouldn't say that into the mic. Next scene, Anna is getting married to Simon. And here I am saying she is cute. She's a good girl.
She's pretty.
But he is clearly regretting his decision.
Oh yeah, they're not even like lovey-dovey. It's very awkward, very tense.
Mm-hmm.
And the preacher says you can kiss the bride, but he's like walking. He starts walking away, like turn around and leaving the church.
Yeah.
There's some
very little fanfare. Not only a handful of people in attendance.
They have a little bit of a reception, and
back at Grandma's place.
Grandma hands him a check and said, "You were a good boy."
Literally a fat check. Like it's a big piece of paper.
I think that in the UK, the checks aren't like the size ours are.
Okay. All right.
And
well, our checks are kind of the size of our money, wouldn't you say here?
Sure.
Maybe it's the same thing over there. Maybe their money is a little different. It's the size of their money there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, Chris,
send us some money.
It's not the size of your money that makes you the man you are.
Just ask me. My 13-inch piece of string. The married couple then go their separate ways.
Yeah, they come out of the church and they go their separate ways.
Well, it's kind of like, you don't have to live together. She just needs a visa to be here. Marry her. You'll be doing me a favor. You'll get the money. You can still do whatever you want. Live separately, but by law, you will be married, and it will help her out.
And this is where the show becomes great.
Well, hold on one second. Is one of the vehicles they leave in a Coupe de Ville? It's a very fancy, old-looking, I guess, British-looking car.
Yeah, I don't think that's a Coupe de Ville.
It looked badass.
Oh, it was badass, but I don't think it's called a Coupe de Ville.
Oh, well, as they're driving away, like she kind of looks a little sad.
Oh yeah, she wants to be with her husband, or maybe she just wants to pay him back for helping her stay in the country.
Wink.
Am I right, guys?
Wink, wink.
The next morning, Simon is awoken by pounding and pounding, buzzing on the door. He unlocks like 4 locks.
I missed something here because these are my notes. Something happened with Anna's uncle. Did he try to have sex with Anna?
That's the way that's the way I came up. That's what I took it as.
Because her English is very broken. The copy that we see on YouTube is not a great version of it.
The way because that's why Simon's like, I'm going to go over there and
sort him out.
And that's why she goes. At first he thought she killed him because he was trying to.
And he asked her that. She said, "No, I didn't do it."
Dip his nuggets.
Put his Polish sausage in her. There you go.
That's probably a better one. Right? Sorry.
Hey, do you want to high five that shit? Nice. Anyway, what did Garrett do? What was his?
I don't remember what.
Anyway, I don't know. He's trying to thrust himself upon his niece, but he died in the process.
And he had a heart attack. Yeah. And she's freaking out because she thinks she's going to go to jail because they're going to,
I don't understand. This is part of my confusion because if the uncle tried to have sex with her and he died, that's really weird and it sucks that he did that. But the situation is done. The rest of the show is the police talking to Anna and Simon and the grandmother trying to figure this thing out
about immigration.
But they're there for. They're talking about the uncle, too. Why is the uncle involved in this conversation if he died of seemingly natural causes? Why are the police looking into this?
I think it's just they investigate any kind of death. And I think they investigate the death because they find out about her just getting married.
Okay.
And I think
suspicion.
Yeah, the cop went and talked to the grandma because she's like very next of kin, obviously, or something.
So, Anna's scared she'll get in trouble. The next scene, the coppers, they're over at Grandma's place getting some information on the dead uncle. And then Grandma comes up with kind of this fake story about Polish tradition to kind of explain why they weren't together the night of they were married. And then the cop, he leaves her alone, but you can tell he's like, okay, lady, there's something with immigration going on here. I'm not an idiot. Anyway.
The next scene is Anna is there, and she has one of his shirts on. Thank God he has enough extra dress shirts.
Tons of them, just for all the ladies.
The cop comes over there and starts kind of interrogating.
This is your favorite part.
And she gets uncomfortable and doesn't know what to do, and so she just starts kissing and putting her leg up on Simon, and it doesn't fit.
But this is your favorite. Is this why it gets crazy in your favorite part or not?
I think it starts to be cool right after the wedding.
It does ramp up after that. She's all over Simon.
Yeah,
and
inappropriately because her uncle just died the night before.
That and the cop they're having a conversation still while she's all over.
Right.
He's having a conversation with them. Anyway, the cop reminds Simon of the immigration laws. Then, and that's the end. Let's say real quickly here that later they're at Grandma's house and they say, you have to flee or be arrested. And that's when I was like, what did I miss? I don't understand. And she says, anyways, you can always get a divorce after 2 years. Grandma. Fucking
Please
cunt.
remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
Oh, a slight hitch. What did you learn about it? Because when I was looking through the YouTube stuff, I saw what looked like plays.
Yeah.
But none of my research brought me back to that. So what did you learn about
when I first found out, I knew that it was a play.
And it begins and ends there is what you're telling me. And you chastised me earlier for not knowing those 3 words. Was a play. Okay. All right. So why
was a play.
constantly mocking me. The show didn't work, obviously. We know that. But why didn't it work? And here's a little information. And sometimes I have this and sometimes I don't. But here's a little information about why it didn't work. Adrienne Conway, one of the writers, she says the recording at Thames Riverside Studios was a terrific success. Everybody loved it. The Thames crew all said it was the best pilot that they had made. Casting was perfect, so important. I was very excited. And then the BBC, in this conversation with her, says, and then what happened? And she says, and then we were hit by the new franchise bids, and to everyone's surprise, Thames, such a successful company, lost out to a high bidder. All the talent jumped ship. John told me not to worry and that he had enough money to make my series, but he was committed to a series from a very well-known writing team first, and Havers, one of the stars of the show, would not work with another producer at the helm. We could not find a replacement for him, so my series was lost. I was devastated. I knew I had what should have been a winner. Over at the BBC, a change of head of Light Entertainment, and my third series of Streets Apart drifted away, and a commissioned drama series was turned down by the New Network Center, who thought that the public would not be interested in the music scene. That's showbiz.
That's showbiz. What are you going to say? That's all you can say.
This is seemingly not an uncommon story.
Right.
Things that we've seen that look good have people that maybe we recognize that due to a series of changing of the guards or maybe a mismanagement or someone's committed to something else.
Or an unfortunate event.
Yeah. A series of, right?
Right.
Series can get lost. They can fall to the wayside. What are you laughing about? A series of unfortunate events? Was it so funny?
No. What's funny about it is that I worked so hard to interrupt you just to say it when it was so far away from when you said a series. Like at that point, it's meaningless. It's not going to work.
Had to shoehorn it in.
But I fucking
had to get it in there.
Oh, reminded me of the old IWIP days.
Those days are gone.
Remember Stewart?
Yeah, Mr. Stewart. Yeah. I like Mr. Stewart.
I like him too.
What would you do to improve A Slight Hitch?
Okay, here's what I would do. I would change up the first 5 or 10 minutes of this. Okay, yes, Susie is cute, but we don't need to see this scene. You can quickly show the audience that he is, a bachelor, yeah. And his grandma is rich and powerful. You don't have to. It seemed like that ended up being insignificant. That much, it took too much time. It was such an insignificant
too much
details.
Time building up that he wasn't interested in getting married when all you necessarily need is a scene to say, right, I don't know who this woman is, and you want me to marry her?
I see a picture of you, and it's obvious you're not a guy that wants to get married.
Well, if I got married, would that make you happy?
It would.
Why? Why would that make you happy?
Because I worry about you.
What do you worry about?
Huh?
Why do you worry about me?
I worry about you dying alone.
Oh, we're all going to die alone, friend.
Well, but I don't want you to be alone as you're getting old.
Why do I have to get married to
because eventually, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to go on dating sites when you're 56 years old, 60 years old?
Why can't I be with a lady and not get married to her?
But you could, but that doesn't seem to happen. Because you won't let them in your house for more than 12 hours.
What? You want me to trap a lady in my house?
No, I'm just saying. How are you going to be with somebody? Eventually, it's not cost effective. Number two.
Oh, see, that's the problem. I'm not about the almighty dollar.
No, I'm just saying.
I love deeply and purely. And
you're going to kick a 60-year-old woman out of bed at night when you're done fucking her.
Jesus, man. This is my solemn promise to you, Blake. I will never have sex with a 60-year-old woman.
You're going to be banging those 40-year-olds all your life, huh?
All my life.
I was loved by you.
I beg someone like you.
Also, I would change the intro to this. It did not fit the mood of this show at all. It confused me for the first 5 minutes.
I didn't know what I was walking into with this.
A spider web?
God, man. A serious unfortunate event. No, it wasn't
that was
until
a No Doubt reference.
I understand that. A likely story. That's also from the same song. Anyway, it wasn't until the laugh track that I knew we were dealing with the comedy.
Right. Well, even at first, I still didn't understand. I was like, why is there a laugh track?
Why does this drama have a laugh track? But no, because you see the sexy legs coming out of the car. You see the sexy nights, the sexy music. You're thinking, oh, this could be kind of
Right.
like a little bit of a sexual drama, right? Not the case at all.
No.
Anyway,
And you saw hot broads in it. I kept waiting for the sexual drama.
let me ask you something. If it goes forward, are they staying in? I assume it's London. Are they staying in London and dealing with things there, or do they make the trip to Poland? Are they going to Poland?
I think they like for the season 1 or for the first 7 episodes, maybe.
Yeah.
They show them dodging
Johnny Law,
and all the stuff that happens with that.
Mm-hmm.
But then
maybe the second season. Huh?
second season they go to Poland and you know that's a whole new
I like that
atmosphere for him.
I feel like Netflix now and like some of these streaming services that are kind of it's the Wild West of streaming still.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're still in that period to where second seasons of a show can dramatically change.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't necessarily change the tone of the show, but they're making big choices. I think because they're saying the creative people at the helm, they trust them to do those things.
Right.
That would be an interesting take, I think, on that to say, first season here, second season we go over there.
Yeah.
Maybe Grandma speaks Polish. Maybe she goes with them.
Yep.
Maybe we take the character or two that we're familiar with that aren't the main characters,
Right.
and we take them over there too.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I think that makes sense.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
We saw this barely, and you know what? It's funny because when Chris sent me the link for this, he sent me the first half only, and so like I was in this thinking, holy shit, I don't have the full picture here. Through my research, I found a site that had the link to both, and God only knows how they came across that second part because it says like YouTube. It's got the little thing up there. It says what the title of the video is, and it's got the little arrow you can press down. It reveals more information. Nothing in there. And that second part says something about a slight hitch.
Oh, wow.
So it's by complete happenstance that I fell ass backwards into that second part. But we're going to post those links on our show notes. So if you want to check out...
Oh, shoot. I better write that down.
Both links. Got to put both links there for the people who want to watch a slight hitch.
You never did send it to me, by the way. The second link.
Yes,
Oh, no, you did.
I totally did.
Both links. Yeah, you did. You did about 6 hours later.
I'm not always at my computer, sir. Okay? I'm sorry. Good Lord.
You know that phone is a miniature computer.
Okay.
It's fine.
I apologize.
Sometimes I want to do stuff, with my life,
Well, you let me know a day before the show and maybe give me a little heads up.
Okay.
Anyway, we're not karaoke Big E here. We're not going to flesh out the show and organize it as it's going on. People have seen... It's funny, the first part has been viewed about 1,000 times. The second part's been viewed about 75 times.
Well, it's because you can't find it.
Exactly right. Most people can't find the whole thing, and so they're kind of stuck. And I think as a result, not a lot of people are talking about this. There's no scores out there.
And a lot of times what happens, like when we watch these ones that are split up on YouTube, it just goes ahead and goes to the second one. And I started watching the second one. I'm like, this is like a whole different quality and everything.
Yeah, not at all. So the only thing I see out there is a viewer review from YouTube, and that's always the bottom barrel for me. But it says, this is from Keith Egerton. This is 4 years ago. He says, could I trade or buy a copy of this? A good sitcom pilot. Both Nigel Havers and Joanna Casca appeared in a few weeks later in the BBC miniseries Sleepers.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's fine.
Not a lot of people are talking about this. Not a lot of people are scoring it.
So we're going to get tons of downloads probably.
We're gonna get everyone's gonna be drawn to the thing no one's ever heard of, especially after we give our rating.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
Bing bong. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Bing bong there. 1 to 7 is our scale system. It's taken from the television show from the 90s, affectionately and accurately known as Wings. 1 to 7, 1 being the worst, 7 being the best, based on all the characters. Number 7 is a Brian Hackett. And number 1, the worst you're going to get, that's a Roy Biggins. Captain Philip, rest assured, I turn to you. How do you rate A Slight Hitch?
The accents were not bad. I could understand what they were saying. Mm-hmm. It was very un-British for me for the most part.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
That probably helped me.
I think I take that for granted.
Yeah.
And you're right. It was very understandable.
I liked this. I enjoyed it. Yes, I found Anna to be very sexually attractive. But I like when it freeze framed on the second half of the show. When it made that face like she's like, you can get divorced in 2 years. Wah, wah. I wanted to see what happened next, and very rarely does that happen.
Yeah.
When we watch a pilot, I give this a 4.
You give it a 4.
Yeah.
Okay. 4, obviously, out of 7, right in the middle. Right. You put a positive spin on that 4. I think I'm gonna give it a 4 as well, but I think my spin's gonna be just a little bit more negative.
Okay.
Which is probably the only number that we could have both the sweet and sour. Like
sure,
that.
A negative times a negative
Equals a positive.
Yeah.
So there you go. I give it a 4, and I say because I feel like it was casted pretty well. I liked most of the people in this. I think they did a good job.
Anna was funny.
She was all right. She was a cute girl. I did like looking at her for sure. It's just a fish out of water story, right? Anna's in a place she doesn't know, and you have to deal with that. But it's more Simon's story and how he deals with the fish out of water,
sure.
Right? He's in a situation where he's not in a familiar place where he's just not he doesn't know how to deal with this situation, and it gets complicated by this guy who died. Otherwise, It would have been like, okay, I'm in a weird situation, but at least I don't have to deal with this person. I don't know how long this could last. Maybe it would be good if they switch it up, like you said, in the second season. They take it to Poland. Maybe not. I don't know.
Take it to Poland.
Take it.
I like that. If we could name these titles, these shows, take it to Poland.
I feel like that's what you were doing during the polar vortex. You and
the Poa.
The polar vortex.
Yes, I'm Poa.
I think that you and Molly during the polar vortex. I think you guys took it to Poland.
The Poland town.
I think she rode the Poland Express.
I said, here's a piece of string. She said, it's way too short. I said, you're measuring it wrong.
I said, wrap it around my nutsack, baby. Can I get you a fish sandwich? I give this a 4. This could go either way. In another world, in another time, this show succeeded, and it did fine, and I would be eating my words. It's not bad. I don't think it's great, though.
It's a top 5 of the Tuckley 10. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the top 5
I
for
think
sure.
You're probably right. Well, what's the worst one so far?
We'll talk about it next week.
And we'll close that up by saying we're closing the book on A Slight Hitch. You give it a 4. I give it a 4. And with that, we will never mention A Slight Hitch again.
Never.
But join us next week, won't you please, when we watch the pilot episode of Space Police. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. A New York cop is put in charge of a space police precinct and charged with the duty of protecting alien worlds from the evils of organized crime. You can find the entire episode of Space Police by subscribing to Couch Pilots on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice. And then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or download the app for Daily Motion. Check out all our commotion.
I was really upset that the PlayStation 4 couldn't get the Daily Motion app on it.
Really?
Yeah.
I have it. It's one of the very few apps I keep up on my main screen on my Apple TV.
Yeah.
And it's super convenient that Daily Motion is on there because that's where I watch all my shit for the show.
Yeah,
and
it's
boom,
not
right
on the
there.
Roku either. I couldn't find it on the Roku.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so weird. Does anyone in your family have an iPhone?
Not that I talk to. Fuck those people.
Yeah. Oh, wait, what? If you want to contact our program, you can go to the internet, and it's couchpilotspodcast.com/internet/interface/... megabyte speed. And right there is every episode that we have done.
Yeah. 100 and...
This is 68.
68.
Unreal, right?
That's great.
168 episodes. You can hear them all there. And there are other things you can do there, too. All of our social media outlets. You can talk on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can give us a call.
Yeah. You can give us a call.
Beep.
We love getting voicemails. That's one of our favorite parts of this show.
I have been forced to call people because they're not calling us. I had to talk to Hoover for a few minutes. You know how stressful that is for me?
Sure. No, yeah. So you're having it's free to call. Just do it.
Yeah,
and, just leave a message.
Leave a
You
message.
get points. Also, you can email us from our site too.
The phone number
sorry.
is 910-745-6871. It's 910-PILOTS1. And then, like you said, the email, right?
Yeah.
couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. And we even have a Patreon. We're so full of ourselves that we have created a Patreon page.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, and we were trying to come up with ideas on what to do with it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, T-shirts or koozies? And you said, everybody does that. Mm-hmm. And I said, pop sockets? And you said,
Pop socket.
You said, no, nobody has those anymore.
Well, and the reason I say that is because my daughter just had a birthday. She's 13 now. I'll kill myself. And her mom got her the newest, best iPhone.
Wow.
And then she's like, "Hey, idiot, can you at least go get her a nice case and a protective screen?" I said, "Okay, I'll go do that." So I go do that, and I say, "Hey, my own daughter, do you want a pop socket?" And she's like, I don't know. And I feel like when kids are on, they know all this shit because they see kids in their 20s doing shit, and they mirror that. So all you have to do is look to them, and I don't know, are pop sockets not cool anymore?
I don't know. I think they're convenient. I love that I have one.
With our logo on the back?
Yeah.
Do you think that'd be cool?
I think it'd be cool.
I'd get behind it. You know what? If we did make those, I would put a pop socket on my phone, and I've never had one.
I don't think your phone's big enough for a pop socket.
You just cannot stop hurting my feelings.
It's kind of what I do. It's kind of it's kind of my bit.
Your Jim Jam?
It's kind of one of my bits. Titty bits.
Titty bits. Ooh, that's hot stuff. Hey, do you have anything you'd like to say to our frequent flyers today before we go?
Yeah, by this time I should know if I have anal cancer or not. My appointment is a couple days from this recording date.
Yeah, before the Matt and Kevin episode, you revealed that you fear for your anus's life.
Yeah, so this season 17 could be my last season. You know?
Well, let's look at the bright side of this. Okay, the anus is
I'm Mr. Brightside.
Is that right? The anus is a series of muscles that act as a sphincter.
Sure.
Right? Essentially your turd cutter.
Right.
Is technology at a point where you could just get a cigar cutter put in your ass and rip your ass apart?
I lose all my fingers.
Wait, that would mean that would mean you put your fingers in your butt.
Oh no, that's not what I meant.
So
positivity, guys. Thank you very much for all the Patreon support. We're honored and humbled that we actually have to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Sure,
I agree. And this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks everyone, and we will see you next time.
Loving yas.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again